The majestic mountains in the background provide a beautiful contrast to the grim gravestones and crypts of the cemetery. A fresh grave has recently been opened here. No hurry. They'll put you in one of those in good time. This gravestone is marked, "No effort could Elissa save. She passed into a watery grave. Her body was lost, only her memory remains." Here lies Janos, faithful forever to his lost true love, laid beside her empty grave. The gravestone is cold to the touch. The epitaph is, of course, engraved. The grave... it doesn't... Great Scott, that rotting corpse sure gave you a fright. Fortunately, it was just a dead body, not some sort of horrible undead creature. But those only come out at night. An inscription on the door says, "House of Ligeia Poe. May she rest." The inscription on this headstone reads, "Michael Med bumped his head in another man's bed. Now he's dead. Rest in peace." This headstone reads, "On a dare, Pasha Sperry spent the night in the cemetery. Something gave him such a fright that now he sleeps here every night." 2 spare coffins await their customers here. Apparently Igor has finally managed to get ahead of business. Arkin Tenor walked at night. Arkin saw his final sight. Now the question seems to be, what in the world did Tenor see? Here lies the body of Carrie Nation, who answered a vampire's invitation. Now there's cause for lamentation. It was a fatal recreation. Here lies the spirit of Barney Blue. To his lover was untrue. So she knew just what to do. Fixed herself some Barney stew. A heavy stone door seals off the Borgov family crypt. A relief carving on the door shows the crest of the House of Borgov. The gravestone... it does... It is deathly silent beyond the door. You examine the door closely. It's massive and well made. A large lock secures the door. Above the door is an intricate crest with the single word Borgov above it. The door is securely locked and feels very solid. All right! You hear a sharp snick as your lockpicks catch the tumblers just right. The crypt door opens. You are in a dark, dank crypt, filled with bas-relief figures of long-departed knights and statues of the Grim Reaper. Stairs lead back up to the entrance. A brightly colored copy of the Borgov crest adorns part of the floor. Some of the stones on this crest feel loose. You need to push them in the correct order to open a lock. Spelling out the name Borgov in colors has caused a secret compartment to open in the crest. Inside is a small key which you add to your keyring. Oh, such a cheery sight. It's a statue of the Grim Reaper, harbinger of death. You find nothing but slimy mold under the grate. Who's there? Luke. Luke who? Look out! There may be a wraith behind you. You don't see anything unusual about this coffin. Inside the coffin is an old skeleton, all that remains of a long-dead knight. The skeleton crumbles to dust under your touch. Nothing now remains of the former resident of this chamber. Watch out, it's a trap! You straighten up. Ouch! That axe felt like it was designed to take your head right off your shoulders. Fortunately, you're buff. You don't see anything unusual about this. You have entered into a dark passageway. It twists and curves so that you quickly lose any sense of direction. You feel more than see a dark door at the end of the passage. You open it by touch. There are no traps on this coffin, but you do find a small keyhole. The coffin lid is actually a door. The small key from the crest opens a lock in the relief. You open the coffin lid to reveal a dark passageway leading deep into the mountainside. After following the dark passage for several minutes, you come out into a castle chamber. The bookcase closes behind you, and there is no obvious way to open it again. The books all seem to be glued in place. You also can't get the bookshelf to move. If there's a secret passage here, the trigger is somewhere else in the room. The chandelier provides scant light to the gloomy room. One of the candles has gone out and is dangling from the chandelier at an odd angle. You reach up to put the candle back. It's a fake candle. When you move it, a secret passage opens up behind the bookshelf. You can't get after all you can hear are distant creaks and groans and the beating of your own heart. There are no traps on the door. You don't see any sign of life or movement beyond the door. The door won't budge. You hear a gentle snick. The lock is open. Open the door. Put your ear up against the door and listen. You don't hear anything. Peering through the keyhole, you see no threatening activity on the other side of the door. You carefully oil the door hinges to prevent revealing squeaks. family crest of the Borgovs holds a commanding position over the room. Despite the size of the great hall, only 2 chairs sit at one small table. That looks like a bust of Boyer von Beethoven, the famous warrior composer. It's just an empty closet. You can't reach it. This is not a good place to practice. Carefully. There are a number of large barrels piled in a disorderly heap. The barrels are all empty. There's nothing useful you can do. Carefully oil the door's slightly rusty hinges. All you can hear are distant creaks and groans and the beating of your own heart. There are no traps on the door. You don't see any sign of life or movement beyond the door. The door won't budge, it's locked. You hear a gentle snick. After several minutes spent analyzing this piece of furniture, you reach the brilliant conclusion that it must be a bed. The window looks over the castle courtyard. It's a massive iron-bound chest. The door won't budge. You hear? Hear it. You hear it. You hear it. The door. You hear it. As white as a sheet. Perhaps it's the ghost of some poor benighted soul who fell to his death while trying to take in the laundry. You shiver as the ghost passes through you. A cold chill remains behind. Put your ear up against the door and listen. Peering through the keyhole, you see no... You carefully... massive iron safe. The chest is locked. You take 15 crowns from a pouch in the safe. The safe also contains several papers and some old clothes, but they have deteriorated with age and are worthless, so you leave them. It's a long, low cabinet. You take 6 kopecks that you find loose in the cabinet. You straighten out the cabinet is empty, save... The cabinet is empty. You don't find any safes, secret passages, or other interesting oddities behind the painting. The sprawling castle watches over a lush and prosperous landscape, obviously a fantasy piece. All you can hear a distant... There are no... You don't see any sign... The door won't... You hear a... You careful. You straighten up. You straight. You straight. You straight. You put your ear up against the door and... Peering through the keyhole... All you can hear a distant... There are no... You don't see any sign of life. The door won't budge. You hear a gentle snick. The cabinet is empty. The cabinet... All you can hear... There are no... You don't see any... You hear a gentle... The cabinet is empty. The cabinet is empty. The cabinet is... Carefully. You hear... After... You're... Careful. You hear... Carefully oil. There are no... All you can hear... You don't see any... Straight... You hear a gentle... The door hinges... Carefully oil them. Stained glass forms a wheel pattern high on the wall. The bookshelves are full of incredibly exciting work, such as 250 years of Boyar ledgers and first-grade writing samples. Some of these books seem to be attached to the bookshelf. Let's see what you can do with them. There's something strange about the volumes of Tobin's Spirit Encyclopedia, subtitled To Pass Beyond the Veil, on these shelves. aren't carrying anything that... You carefully... All you can hear... There are no... You don't see any movement through the keyhole, but you think you hear movement from the bottom of the stairs. You are so exhausted. You hear a gentle... He looks like someone with whom you really don't want to tangle. He's mean, he's tough, he's a goon. You know, there are those two huge goon guards down at the bottom. Are you sure this is such a good time to head down the stairs? You hear voices at the bottom of the stairs. This really isn't such a hot idea. It will be certain death to get too close to those guards.
Hey! Dungeons is always guarded, and we's the guards. But why guard a dungeon when there's no one in there? We got to guard something, don't we? Else we don't got the job. Well, it's still boring. The maths is really something, ain't she? Yeah. I even likes the kid. Shame they keep her all the way on the other side of the castle. Yeah. It's the Annabes guy I can't stand. He looks at us like we was fools or something. You got it. That guy gives me the creeps.
You hear a... Careful. There are no... You don't see any... You straighten out. All you can hear, a distant creak. You hear a gentle... Worn, threadbare rug adds a touch of color to the plain wooden floor. The sprawling castle watch after... This probably isn't at the top of your list of safe places to sleep. You hear a... You care... Here. You carefully straighten. You hear heavy breathing beyond the door. It reminds you of a hibernating bear. Through the keyhole, you can see what appears to be a child's bedroom. A large and dangerous-looking, ape-like creature sits near the door. The monster doesn't seem to like you letting light into the room. Maybe you would have better luck at night. After some Through the keyhole, you can...
Who is it, Toby? He came to visit while I was sleeping? Did you ask him what he wanted? Well then, ask him now. What does he want this time, Toby?
You say, hello.
Hello? Do you live in the castle now, too?
You tell about yourself.
I never met a real hero before. Why'd you come here?
You start to tell what you're doing here.
Toby, it's not polite to interrupt. How many times do I have to tell you that?
You tell her about the innkeepers.
I miss my mommy and my daddy. But I can never go home. Not now. Toby says this is my home now. Toby's my best friend. We play games and tell stories, and I never had a real friend before. Toby says I'm his best friend, too. My name is Tanya, and this is Toby. What's your name? My mommy and daddy don't like me anymore. I did something bad and now they don't want to see me ever again. Sometimes I miss my mommy and daddy. I know, Toby, you and Aunt Trina take good care of me. I wouldn't want to leave you ever. But I still miss my mommy. Toby used to visit me at the inn. My mommy and daddy would not like it if they saw Toby. They wouldn't let me play with him, so I didn't tell them about him. One day, Toby brought me a beautiful doll. I never had a real doll before. I named her Vanna. But when my mommy saw Vanna, she got real mad. She tried to make me tell about Toby. My mommy and daddy yelled at me. They scared me. They took Vanna away, and they wouldn't let me see her ever again. I didn't want them to do that to Toby, so I ran away with him. Aunt Trina says my mommy and daddy won't like me now. She says they will be scared of me like they were scared of Vanna. I don't want my mommy and daddy scared of me. I will never go back again. I know, Toby. You should go now. I don't want to talk about bad things. That's a scary thing. That's how come we always used to have garlic all around at the inn. Mommy and I used to braid the garlic and put it up all over the place to keep out the bad things. I don't like the smell of garlic. I had to wear garlic around my neck all the time. Now I have a pretty necklace instead. See? Isn't it pretty?
The necklace is on a choker chain, completely covering the little girl's throat.
A long time ago, I used to live at the inn. But now I get to live here. I don't have to be afraid of the bad things all the time. Now I have Toby to protect me. This is where I live now. I have this whole room to myself and Toby. Sometimes I get to go to the hall with Aunt Trina and play with Cuddles. Cuddles is Aunt Trina's pet hound. He's my friend too. Aunt Trina says she will be my friend and take care of me. I like her. She gives me nice things. She sent Toby to me. She says I'll be her little girl forever and ever. That's the place with the big fireplace and all the fancy statues. Sometimes I dance for Aunt Trina there. It's fun. Except when the dark man is there. I don't like him. I don't like the dark man. I wish Aunt Trina never brought him here. Mean. I stick out my tongue at him all the time. Toby doesn't like the dark man either. Toby says the dark man can't be trusted. You should stay away from him. Aunt Trina says I dance very well. I like to dance, especially up in the air. That's really fun. Sometimes Aunt Trina and I dance all over the room. We dance on top of the statues and everything. It's like flying around and around.
You say goodbye.
Goodbye. You should come back and talk sometime. And I'll tell Aunt Trina that I want to see you again.
You ask the child to keep your visit a secret. You want to surprise her aunt.
Oh, good. I love surprises. Toby, you have to keep this secret too. No, a secret's a secret. Promise? Bye-bye for now.
She's a lovely little girl, although rather pale. Her glowing golden eyes really set off the highlights in her hair. She does appear to have a bit of an overbite problem. You hear it. You hear. Yep. You hear a jet. You put. shiver as you hear voices. You hear voices beyond the upper door. Two people seem to be having an argument in the next room. You carefully open the door just a little so you can hear better and look through the crack.
Everything is going according to plan. My plan. I am not interested in your petty revenge scheme.
You cannot trust him. He will attempt to destroy you the moment he realizes what you truly are.
No, he is already attracted to me. I want him to act from his own free will and not be some puppet whose string I hold. After all, if I only wanted a puppet, I could have used you.
There will come the day, Katrina, when I will be the Dark Master, and you will be only a memory.
You would love to destroy me, wouldn't you? You hated me from the moment we met, but you thought you could use me, didn't you? You were blinded by your own ego. I've always been your master, and you my mere apprentice.
I will have my revenge.
On whom? The hero or myself?
Both of you.
Oh, it is so easy to make you lose your temper. That is why you never be the Dark Master. You let your overwhelming pride override your thinking.
The door hinges. Carefully. You hear? You see a portrait of a tall, arrogant-looking nobleman dressed for battle. Nothing like a blazing fire to keep away the chill on those cold winter nights. It's an ash urn. Don't make an ash of yourself. Carefully. All you can hear. There are no... You don't see... You hear it. The cabinet is empty. The cabinet... It's a drinking horn. At least it would be a drinking horn if it had something to drink. Those things always leak. You've seen better, Cup. Carefully. All you can hear, catch a brief glimpse of the elusive flash of wings on the other side of the door. There are no... You are so exhausted. You hear a gentle... Carefully oil the door. You You put your ear up against it. Peering through the key... The bookshelf shifts ever so slightly as you push against it. But you haven't found the trigger yet. Try as you might, you can't get the table to spin. It's too heavy, and the legs are too solidly planted. Ashes to ashes and all that, but are you really in such a hurry to go out like a light? Ashes to ashes to... The stone walls... The bookshelf shift... Straighten out the crest. The bookshelf opens, revealing a secret passage. The stone wall... The stone... The You are so... You hear a gentle... Reach up to put the... The door will not budge. It appears to be magically sealed. There is no... As you shake hands with the Grim Reaper statue, the door at the top of the stairs opens. You quickly make your escape from the deadly crypt. You have entered an eerie, deserted graveyard. Strange moans wail through the trees, and mysterious lights seem to flicker and fade among the tombstones. Two large crypts dominate the cemetery.